Lady Brackenstall awaits you in the morning room.
Sir Warthen Brackenstall. Lord Brigham Brackenstall. Lord Ramsay Brackenstall. Baron Lyndon Brackenstall.
Ladies, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting Inspector Lestrade in this investigation.
Mr. Holmes, I am the wife of Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
I am sorry for your loss. Please accept my deepest condolences.
I suppose that it is no use my attempting to conceal that our marriage has not been a happy one.
Can you describe to me the events?
Is it really necessary? I have already told Inspector Lestrade all that...
Yes, madam, it is.
I will tell you then. Sir Eustace retired about 10:30. I sat in this room until after 11, absorbed in a book. Before I went upstairs, I entered the dining room to fetch a candle and...
Please, go on.
As I approached the French window, I found myself face to face with an elderly, broad-shouldered man who had just stepped into the room. Close behind the first man, I saw two others. One of them struck me a savage blow with his fist and felled me unconscious to the ground.
And then?
When I came to myself, I found that they had secured me tightly to a dining room chair. It was at that instant my unfortunate husband entered the room.
He fought with the intruder?
Yes, I think he had heard them, for he was holding his stick. But they were three, and he eventually succumbed. One of them, the elder one, struck him a terrible blow with the poker. I fainted once more. When I opened my eyes, they had withdrawn.
Did these three villains steal anything?
Yes, I found that they had taken the silver from the sideboard, but you can see for yourself in the dining.
You mentioned that your marriage was not a happy one. Was there anything specific that...
He was not a nice man when he was drunk, and he suffered from dark moods, but nothing else.
The bruises on your hands are at least 1 week old. Your husband caused those bruises?
Oh, do you... Yes, he did. He was very angry at the time, out of control. Sir Eustace was a drunkard. To be tied to such a man for life is worse than death.
Your ladyship? Teresa, I would like to hear your testimony.
Certainly, sir. As I sat by my bedroom window, I saw 3 men in the moonlight down by the lodge gate. But I thought nothing of it.
And then?
I went to bed, and it was more than an hour after that I heard my mistress scream. And down I ran, to find her tied to the chair and him on the floor with his head smashed. That's all I know.
The description of the Randall gang provided by Lady Brackenstall is identical to the one in the Times article. This photograph of Lady Brackenstall and her maid Teresa was taken at a port, but which one? So the lady and her maid came from Australia a year and a half ago on this ship. These scratches are most definitely made by the picture frame. This is Sir Eustace's safe. There may be something important inside. I must ask Lady Brack. Lady Brackenstall, could you open...
No, it is my husband's safe. I do not know the combination.
We have to open it.
Your ladyship? Let us try to open this safe. This safe can be cracked. I only have to pay attention. The dial will vibrate. It is common practice to keep one's valuables in a safe. It is common. Antique coins, possibly of value, but they're antique coins.
You should examine the body of Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
So, Watson, what have you learned from examining Sir Eustace's body?
Well, I can confirm that the death was instant. Sir Eustace was facing his attacker when he received the blow to his head. There are
It appears that the bell rope was cut by someone taller than me. That must be the head was cracked with the force of the blow. Quite a large stick, a formidable weapon. Barefoot, he had therefore been in bed. It is covered in blood. Sir Eustace might have struck his head upon it while falling from the blow. That is... a fur trader's cabin. A decanter standing next to the open bottle, an inseparable pair. Chateau Calon-Ségur. A decanter. This glass has some wine traces, but no visible... This glass has some wine traces. There is beeswing at the bottom, as if the wine had not been decanted before. It is rather strange that the hunting scene. This candlestick is valuable. It is interesting that it was not also stolen. An empty silverware box. It appears that the intruders have stolen the contents. These wine bottles are expensive. The hunting. This candlestick is valuable. It is interesting that it was not an empty silverware box. It appears that the intruders have... A bottle of wine is missing here. The criminals did not thoroughly ransack the house. Sailor's knots. That's interesting. This rope was handled by the murderers. We need a scent hound to follow their trail. I will take it with me. This is the chair that Lady Brackenstall was tied to. The hunting scene. Antique hunting weapons. A deer hunt.
The death was instant.
This door leads to the upstairs bedrooms. Apparently the criminals did not venture. A bottle of wine is Come on, Toby. We need the best nose in the British Empire.
I agree with you, Toby, that Watson's shoe is preferable to...
Search, Toby. The intruders entered the shed for some reason. When The scent leads to the well. The intruder's trail is lost behind. The criminals left the house through the French window. They walked to the shed, then across to the well, before fleeing by climbing over the wall. I wonder why they chose such a winding route. The intruder's trail is lost behind this wall. This hook might... Bags of seed. Some empty bag. Bags of seed. Bags of... Small gardening tools. This old suitcase sounds hollow. It must be empty. There's something glittering at the bottom there. If only I had something with which I could lift that object. If only I had something with which I... If only I had something with which I could lift that object. If only I had something... The wheel handle is old and rusty. If only I had something with which I could lift that object. This old suitcase. Small gardening tool. If only I had something with which I could lift that object. silverware. The Brackenstall coat of arms. Inspector,
You are a wizard, Mr.
in the garden.
Excuse me?
Unique.
Rather absurd.
Perhaps it was used as a temporary hiding place, or simply the thieves wanted to get rid of it. What do you know about Sir Eustace, Inspector? What was his reputation?
A charming man when sober, but an absolute demon when he was drunk. In such moments he was apparently capable of anything. Why, once he splashed fuel on Lady Brackenstall's dog and set it alight. To the point that we were forced to intervene several times to avoid a scandal.
Lord George Brackenstall. There are 3 glasses on the dining room table. I was wondering if...
Oh, I forgot. When I came to myself, they might have been a father and his 2 sons. They talked together in whispers.
We found your silverware, Lady Brackenstall.
Is that true? I am very thankful to you, Mr. Holmes.
Your ladyship? Sir Eustace's doctor speaks of his violent behaviour.
Yes, Sir Eustace was an extremely violent man. It is true that he once threw a decanter at me, and all because I dared to stand up to him in defence of my sly devil. God forgive me that I should speak of him so now that he's dead, but a devil he was, if ever one walked the earth. We met him only 18 months ago. She'd only just arrived in London. Yes, it was her first voyage. Won her with his title and his money and his false London ways. If she made a mistake, she has paid.
We found your mistress's silverware.
Oh, that's good.
Indeed. Let us see how the rope was cut. The fibers at the end of the rope. Let us try to find out what tool was used to... The fibers from this cut appear to be different. If I cut the rope with a knife, it matches the original.
My archive. I can always consult with it if needed. My archive. I can al- This is where I keep my post. Brave Toby, the best nose in the British Empire. My archive. I can always consult with it if needed. My archive. I can always consult with it if needed. My archive. I can always consult with it if needed.
Oh, what a...
Please leave my Mary.
Holmes, don't look at me like that. I don't know what to think about all this.
hunter scene.
What should we do next, Holmes?
The shipping company,
I think that if you...
but I have an...
Brave Toby. Wiggins, could you come upstairs, please?
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
I need a register, my young friend. If you could borrow it, there will be half a guinea for every one of you. I need the crew list of the Rock of Gibraltar in 1893.
I'm straight on it, Mr. Holmes.
Do you really think they'll find it?
My secret police is better.
Here it is, Mr. Holmes. But we can't take it back. It's too risky.
Put it on the table. This list shows the senior officers of the Rock of Gibraltar, on which Lady Brackenstall and her maid made their voyage. Lady Brackenstall does not know anyone in England. This must mean that someone on this list is our mysterious visitor. And these are the lists of the senior officers of the Adelaide, Southampton, London Line ships. Let us find out who was in London upon November the 7th. I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case. This list shows the senior officer. This list shows the senior officers of the Rock of Gibraltar, on which Lady Brackenstall. This list shows the senior officers of the Rock of Gibraltar, on which Lady Brackenstall and her maid. This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved. I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case. I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case. This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved. I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case. I do not think that this sailor has any Captain Jack Crocker is our mysterious visitor. He was the only one.
This Crocker, do you think...
It would be interesting to meet him. Our young friend should be able to... Wiggins, could you find a way to bring this Captain Crocker here to us?
Here?
No problem.
Mr. Holmes, I was informed that you were looking for me.
Yes, it is important that we talk. You are acquainted with Lady Mary Brackenstall.
Yes, I think I do remember her, from when I was first officer, but I still don't see...
It seems your relationship went beyond that of mere passenger.
How dare you?
Indeed, how reckless a feeling is love, particularly if one is prepared...
Explain yourself this instant.
You are aware that the murder made the headlines of the morning press. You read the newspaper report, but to your dismay, found it much fabricated. Once you learned that I wanted to see you, you came straight away. You needed to know.
You... and what do you...
That evening, you were with...
I'm not afraid, Mr. Holmes. Besides...
You would be right, if there was...
What then?
Lady Brackenstall was tied to a... and it was you.
You call that evidence?
Yes, as she was tied with a sailor's knot. Your handiwork.
So, it's a sailor who's done it. Your theory is flawed anyway. On the night of the murder, I was aboard the Shark. I was supervising the...
At night.
It was an emergency. There was a leak. You can ask the ship's captain.
I'm sure.
Perfect. In that case, we have nothing more to talk about. Good evening, gentlemen.
Holmes, what should we do now? Would you like to check his alibi? So, what then?
So, we must work with what we have.
Now I understand why you...
Wiggins, could you ask Mr. Crocker to come here again, please?
Right away.
Why did you make me come here again, Mr. Holmes?
It is over.
What?
I know, because of the height at which the rope was cut. The knife used was a sea knife. The knots were safe. And because you are the only one who knows Lady Mary...
It's true.
It is time for you to tell us the whole truth.
I admit that I loved Mary madly from the first day that I met her. But I never did come to visit her, for I believed that she was in a happy household. When I talked to her maid, who told me everything, I was insane with rage. I was due to set sail for 6 months away. I wanted only to see her again. But it turned into a damnable nightmare when he barged in. He dared raise his hand to her. He was... Oh, I regret nothing. I admit I killed her.
Lady Brackenstall already forgave you.
Mary.
But that makes her an accomplice as well as her...
Mr. Holmes.
You would not have managed to protect her.
Till I die, do you hear me? Here is a letter that sets everything clear. Now it is time to end. You should have let me die. How can I live if Mary's son...
I am sorry, Captain Crocker, but there has been quite enough death in this case. Inspector, I give you Sir Eustace's killer. He tried his best to perform his own justice.
Well, I'm not surprised. Yes, it was me. I confess.
Here is a piece of evidence that can be used in court.
Perfect. A case that went smoothly for once.
Holmes, for heaven's sake, whatever's going on?
Oh, hello, Watson. You're early. Did you kill all of your patients?
What? Holmes, where have all the...
I increased the temperature of the room so as to... But it worked, Watson.
Ridiculous. And...
They're domestic bees. Apis mellifera. Anyway, Watson, I am sorry, but I must leave you.
You have a new...
Yes, but nothing as thrilling as this experiment. A theft of plants at the Royal Botanic Garden. I'm helping a minister who's an old friend of mine. You can join me.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these work... Besides, you'll need a helping hand with the flowers.
Watson, however...
For the great Sherlock Holmes to bother with... Come on, admit that you're planning...
Since when?
Well, Holmes, here we are at the Royal Botanic Gardens. There's no doubt that this place is beautiful.
Yes, of course.
Don't touch anything else, is that clear? Good day to you, gentlemen. How...
I am afraid that it cannot wait. We are investigating the theft of plants.
So you're the one in charge, eh?
A small favour for a friend. Now, to whom do I have the pleasure?
I am Martin Hamish. I am the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens.
I am delighted to meet you. What can you tell...
They were rare and exceptional plants. We presented them at our last We haven't removed the stand yet. It is still in the large glass. We only learned of their disappearance the evening after the exhibition, and nobody saw it.
No doors were forced?
No, but I would imagine that for a thief it would be fairly easy to get...
Well, if you don't mind, we will take...
Yes, the one just behind me. Just a second, since Albert has nothing else to do. Albert! Show these gentlemen where the...
How many people...
Only myself, but occasionally 2 students.
Here it is. This is the place where the...
Thank you.
Yes, there is. All right, the plants were valuable and rare. It seems to me that the tragedy that took place here and it...
What tragedy are you referring?
The director of Kew Gardens, Mr. Montague Dunn. He died here just 2 days ago.
We're very sorry. We were not aware. The two of you were good
He was my father.
Oh dear. Our condolences. We should not be troubling you. Please do excuse it.
You say that he died here, in the large glass house.
Holmes?
Yes, just here, near the door to the colonial collection. Excuse me, gentlemen, but I cannot remain here. If you need me, I'll be...
Of course, we